Hello, social media friends. This is Jeremy Rowland, and this is Bail Bacon in America on this July the 25th, 2026, where I go live on this social media platform, and then I share it to all of our social media platforms, where I talk to you about three things that I'm passionate about. That is bail, that is bacon, that is America, and then we spin the wheel. And if your name is in the wheel by going to RRRbailbonds.com once a week, then you get a chance to win $50 for yourself. Most importantly, you get to win $50 for your favorite philanthropy, your charity of choice, because that's what Bail Bacon America is about, is giving back to some sort of charity or something across this great country that we call America. And we do this every single Saturday at some point throughout the day. There is no set time because I never know where I'm going to be the next 5 minutes. So let's just get it kicked off this week with bail. And I have to share this with you because I think it is very important, and I'm going to dwell into it just a little bit. This comes from WSFA.com, okay? It is an article that was produced about 23 hours ago because I like to do some research and I like to read about the industry that I am passionate about. This is about a chief of police who stresses the need for bail bond reform. Basically what he says, you can, and I will share the article in the comments on the Facebook page that we're on now, so you can read it for yourself, okay? He is stressing the need for bail bond reform, and he says in his words, you need to vote like your life depends on it. And what he's stating is that there is a small percentage of people that are committing the largest amounts of crimes, but then they continuously get out of jail with either very little bail or any bond needed at all. Hence, vote like your life depends on it. Now, I have always said in this industry, if you are a bondsman, you should never post a bond if you cannot go home and lay your head down on a pillow, because you represent your community. You represent who you put out on the street when you post a bond. Now, back to the chief. What you see in the criminal justice system these days is that it is being infiltrated by individuals who do not have either their economic best interest for their county, or they have no interest or care on what is actually being released. Let me expand on that a little bit. There is a growing problem in the judicial system where individuals who are in control of setting bonds and making sure who is being released are not taking the full effect of the economic downturn that they are providing, the no accountability, the aspect that they are not looking at, and then they're not looking at the actual alleged victim of a crime. It's all about he, she, me, and what can I do to secure that I stay where I'm at, if you follow what I'm saying. It is a growing problem. So what this chief here is saying is that there's a tier on this thing. When a officer, a deputy, or a trooper turns on their overheads and they take an alleged individual to jail, they are saying that I can prove in a court of law that the reason why I arrested this individual may be true in the officer, deputy, or trooper's eyes. Now, everyone is innocent until proven guilty. The problem is, if you're following along with me here, is that the individuals are having to sit in jail for a little bit of a period of time at a cost to the taxpayers, and then they're just being released with no accountability, with no bail being set, with nothing. And in return for that, when the individual doesn't know more about their case or their bond or when they're supposed to be to court, there's nobody there to remind them that, hey, you have court this coming Tuesday at 9 o'clock. You lose in every bit of that. And like the chief is saying, these warrants just continue to stack up. The crime rate continues to stack up because a bondsman, and listen, there's going to be some people that watch this video that's going to say, well, he's just a bondsman. He's just looking out for his business. No, that is not the case in my case. At the end of the day, when you stare at this face, I live in a community, I pay taxes in a community, and and I care about what goes on in my community. And when you have judicial judges who do not look at the entire aspects, they end up hurting everything. Quorum courts start coming after budgets because at the end of the day, if anybody tells you that corrections is not a business, they are lying to your face. Because it is. It is a business. Whether you like it or if I like it or if anybody else doesn't like it, corrections is a business. And it depends upon certain steps to make sure that your 911 centers are fine, your correctional jails are fine, because if they're not fine and they're dilapidated and they're not bringing in funds to upkeep it, guess what? They come back to you, the taxpayer, for money. They want money so they can build a bigger jail or bring, we need money so we can staff this, or we can update this, or we need to fix this, we need to fix that. All of that is funded through bail. All of that can be funded through bail. So if you deny bail, the use of bondsmen, real quick before we move on, you're losing funding, you're losing accountability, you're losing for the alleged victim of the crime, and most of all, the fourth thing, the accused individual doesn't have direction. They don't have somebody saying, hey, you need to be here on this day, on this time, you need to be addressed appropriately. This is the actions that's going to happen on that day. If it's a plea day, the judge is just going to want to hear guilty or not guilty. That's not giving legal advice. That is giving the aspect of what's going on that day, okay? And then if it's a trial day, you need to be here early so you can check in with your attorney. Your attorney can't get a hold of you. Your attorney can call a bondsman and say, hey, I need to talk to John Doe because I'm unable to get a hold of him. All that weight, the funding, everything, the accountability, the cost of transport and extradition, it all falls on the bonding company. And when you have judicial leaders who don't understand that, you as a taxpayer are losing, and you're going to lose every single time. Bail reform has proven time and time and time again that it is a massive failure, and it will always be a failure. That is bail for this week. Now let's move on to bacon, because I've got something for y'all this week, and I hope that you will take the time. It takes just a little bit of things that you have to go get. Let's start with just a few things. 1, you need a spoon, okay? 2, you need a red Solo cup. Why a red Solo cup? Because I, as an individual, don't believe that you should eat cereal or anything that comes with milk out of a bowl. I'm a cup guy. Red Solo cup. This is not actually a red Solo cup. This comes from the Dollar General store because it's got ridges and it's bigger than a red Solo cup, okay? So there's 1, there's 2. Now, the next thing you need is a gallon of milk, okay? I am a 2% guy. When I was a kid, I was a whole milk guy. Not anymore as I'm 51. Whole milk just doesn't agree with me that well. Next thing you need, everybody knows what these are. Nutty Buddies, okay? You can find them at any store. Nutty Buddies, okay? Last and most important thing you need is this, bacon bits. When you take bacon bits and you put it in a cup, and you put these 2 sticks in the cup and you break them up, I highly suggest that you break them in half and just crush them up in your hand if you want to, and put it in said red Solo cup. Take your spoon after you put milk in it and stir it around. Now trust me when I tell you this, you are in for a treat. You just mix these things together and you just have yourself a little snack and you're gonna be just fine for the day. Key ingredient though is milk, and it's gotta be cold. It's got to be super cold. Me personally, I put my milk in the freezer for about 7 to 8 minutes, let it get really, really good and go. And then I throw it in there and you can enjoy. That is bacon for this week. Now, let's move on to America. I think this is very important since we talked about money and so forth in the bail aspect. On this day, hold on, I got to clear the street. In New York City, on this day in 1953, July 25th, 1953, New York subway fare jumps from 10 to 15 cents, okay? and it's actually not a huge increase, but a dime is a dime, especially in 1953. Now today, since we're talking about money, you have certain people who use language to get elected in New York City, and then what happens when they say what they want to do doesn't happen. Because fair now, somebody in New York City, if you do some research, you know what I'm talking about. The guy's a socialist, okay? And I don't get into politics. What I'm getting into is that not only did a promise that buses and stuff like that were going to be fast and free, they actually went up. They're $3, okay? So if you put this whole thing together, when you go and you vote, and there is a tremendous amount of people these days, I don't know what's going on, but there is a tremendous amount of people these days that do not understand the importance of voting, okay? Whether you like it or you don't like it, hundreds of thousands of people have made the ultimate sacrifice to give you and me the ability to walk into a booth and vote. And that's why it is so important that every time you have a vote, whether it's for a school board, whatever, judicial leaders, for judges and stuff like that, do your research, get on the phone, call your people and tell them, hey, let's go vote. Let's make a day of it and go vote. And be sure that you put in people who understand the aspects of what you want in your community and county and state. All right, now it's time to move over here and find out who won $50 for themselves and $50. I need to update this real quick, make sure nobody else entered while I was here. All right, here we go. This is who's going to win $50 for themselves and $50 for their favorite philanthropy. And don't forget, you have to tell all your family and friends about it, because if you get them in it, then maybe they'll share some money with you, okay? But it's more about charity. It's more about giving back to a charity that you are passionate about. So here we go. We got 29 entries this week. Right there it is. Over here to my right, I just click spin and pick a winner. Here in just a few seconds, it will start spinning and we will find out who it is. Come on, wheel, start spinning for me. There it goes. All right, here we go. Who's it going to be? Who is it going to be? That looks like Joanne M. right there. So I believe that is Joanne Murado. Congratulations, Joanne Murado. Thank you all so much for participating. Give me about 5 minutes. Go back to RRBellBonds.com. Put your name in next week's wheel. Get on the phone. Tell all of your people. Send out some emails. Send out some texts. Tell them about Bell Bacon America. Go get you a Nutty Buddy and some bacon bits and some milk and a red Solo cup. Vote for the right people. And don't forget, if you need professional bail in the great state of Arkansas, RRR Bell Bonds, 870-257-2282. And I will see you next week for another Bell Bacon America.